and thanks for joining me. Today I have 5 ways to get someone interested in using a computer. If you have a person in your family that's probably above the age of, say, 55, 60 years old, and they seem reluctant about using a computer, then here are 5 ways that you would be able to maybe persuade them to be interested in using one. I've always found that a person feels after they reach a certain age, they feel like they don't really need to or have the energy or, they just don't want to learn a new operating system or a new way of doing something, whether it be ATM machines or, online banking or something like that. We all run into it, and it's sort of frustrating, especially if you're like me. I'm a geek nerd type of person that loves technology, and I just can't get enough. I love manuals. I like reading how something works. Sometimes disassembling, reviews and stuff like that. So it's frustrating when I meet someone that just says, "I really don't need that in my life," when they don't really understand what it can do for them and how it can enrich their life. So here are 5 ways that you might be able to compel someone to use a technology. And some of these people may have already have a computer, and it may not be that hard to, reintroduce it to them and get them very interested in it. The first one is photos. Anyone over the age of 45 loves photos, whether it's, the tactile feeling that you get from holding them in your hand to storing them in an album and showing them to people when they come over and stuff like that. I find that this is the number one easiest way because they want to preserve those photos and have something in the future. But most photos, as we know, they, even with the newest in technology, photos, they end up fading, and you usually have to end up taking the photos and having them either copied or taking the negatives, and you rarely see negatives anymore unless you're a professional photographer, and even they have switched over mainly to digital. The first one, like I said, is photos. So, you might want to talk to them and show them how easy it is to copy the photo over to a computer, have it whenever they want, send it to any relatives they have. They could go out and go to Walmart, and for like 23 cents, they can have that photo reproduced, or just to have it on their phone, or, something like that. Um, Phones and stuff like that, you might want to introduce later after you've got them to the point where they're very comfortable with that computer. If they're going to do photos, then the 2 things that I recommend the most are either a PC, which is Windows based, or an iPad. I'm not going to recommend Macs because that's a sort of a niche product, and that has, you know, monetary uh, problems with it because most people that they're already fighting getting a computer anyway, and they're not going to go out and spend $1,200 for something like that. An iPad, you can pick one up, very nice iPad 9.7 for $239. Probably now you can get them a lot cheaper. Most people that I talk to that have a person in their family that's reluctant on getting a computer, they're not going to personally go out and buy it themselves. They're going to, it's going to be usually something that's given to them at Christmas time, birthdays, or something like that. Then they're more apt to use it because you sort of have the guilt thing. Someone's not really going to put something in a closet and forget about it if it's a gift, or they might want to regift it or something like. Anyway, back on track. Photos. Everyone over the age of 45, they love photos, and they like the tactile response that you get from holding one. That's going to be the hurdle that you're going to have to overcome because once you put it on a computer, it's going to be more accessible because you're not going to have to go look for the photo album, flip to the page that you want. If you're using photos and stuff like that on your computer, you can upload them to Google. Google has a very intuitive search that'll take you right to a specific photo if you've named it or has a date or has like a specific item in the scene like a dog or a cat or snow or mountain or anything like that, it'll bring up all those photos, be a lot easier for them to find. And like I said, for that, doing photos, PC, iPad, that's the thing. PC is going to have all your software. iPad's going to have all your software. And on top of that, it always has a camera on the back of it, which is, I think, right now an 8 megapixel. And they're going to be able to use that to either copy photos, or they're going to be able to use that to take their own photos. And once they get that in their system, it's going to be very hard for them to lay that down. Let's go to the next one, grandkids. Now this is whether you have grandkids or children of your own, but you're still reluctant on doing that. More than likely, they're going to know about iPads and PCs, Chromebooks, and stuff like that. So they're going to want you to FaceTime with them or video chat, or they're going to want you to watch their videos that they've made. And, you know, it's going to be very important to keep up with that. I think if you're a parent nowadays, you should make a video every single day. So one day when you are unfortunately gone, your children are going to be able to look back, see the, you know, transitions over your life and the way you thought about things. And it's going to be, you know, a digital diary. And you're going to have this awesome, you know, life that now they're able to see, and they won't have to have it secondhand through someone else that, you know, may or may not have paid attention when you're doing it. But and for, you know, for grandkids and videos and stuff like that, I'd recommend a PC or an iPad. iPad has FaceTime. PC has Skype. And so if you have a loved one that's halfway across the country, then you're going to be able to contact them. And once a person knows that they're able to see someone, speaking on the phone doesn't give you, that's like 75% of the picture. You know, when you have a video, that's 100%. You'll be able to see them, hear them, visual cues, all that kind of stuff. And that's going to really stick with a person that's reluctant to get a computer. So it's awesome to have that. And like I said, for grandkids and videos, I'd recommend a PC or an iPad. That's one of those things that, you know, like I said before, more than likely, you're going to be purchasing this for them. You're, you know, and whether you have the money or you don't, it's going to be one of those things where you can give it to them for Christmas, or you can give it to them for a birthday, which is great. That's, you know, like I said, you got the guilt thing going on because now they don't want to put it down and, you know, or set it aside. Now, I had to face that too. And my grandmother, God rest her soul, it didn't really matter to her. She did not want any technology past a cordless phone in her house. And even that was a struggle to get her to use. And pretty much everything, I have a running joke where, you know, you give her anything and she'll end up wrapping a string around it or tying it back up and sticking it underneath the television. And that's the way she was. You know, you couldn't give her anything that had technology in it if it didn't cook something, or she couldn't watch television on it or something like that. Anyway, let's go to number 3, which is browsing. Browsing is one of the things that kills a lot of time. You can sit down and you can start browsing and you're hooked on it within 5 minutes, and you look back up and you've done it for 3 hours. And that's pretty much what it was. When I first got my first computer with internet service, I was on it for like 4 or 5 hours straight. Just anything, I was absorbing it like a sponge, and I was hooked. Of course, like I said, now I'm the odd man out because I'm the geek and nerd that loves all technology. And even if it's crap, I will still look at it, play with it, you know, if it's only just for a few minutes. And I will give you my honest opinion on it. And so this is what I'm doing right now. I'm telling you, this is what I have done in the past to get someone interested in technology using a computer, and I've sort of narrowed it down to where you're going to have minimal frustration. Like I said, browsing. Now for browsing, I recommend a Chromebook or an iPad. What is a Chromebook? A Chromebook is a PC that's been stripped down. All it does is web browsing and online apps. You cannot get a virus. If it's ever gets messed up, there's a simple program, or there's a simple 2 push button that will restart that Chromebook to factory. You just put in your Gmail. You have to have a Gmail account, and you put that in. All your settings are put back on it. Anything that was messed up or someone tried to, steal something out of it, then you're all set. The only drawback to that is every time that you log into that computer, you have to put in your password, which on one is a hassle, but on the other, it's for security, and that's great. Everyone needs more security. Well, let's go to let's see. I said for Chromebook or iPad. Between the two for browsing, I would say Chromebook. You're going to have the larger screen keyboard, so it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that. If you have an iPad, then you're going to have to spend a little extra for the keyboard, and you're not going to get the really same effect, but you're going to have a really nice camera on the back. So when you are browsing, you can switch over, take it with you, and do a lot of photography outside or something like that. With a Chromebook, you're going to also have a camera, but it's usually not very good. It's like a 2 megapixel, and you're going to be lucky to get any good photos from that, and or videos or something like that. And also with a Chromebook, you can do video chat, which would go back to the grandkids. And I would have said Chromebook for the grandkids and the videos and stuff like that, except for you're going to want to do other things, like photos and stuff like that with editing and stuff. And it's really not very good for, Chromebook's really not good for editing photos. You can, and it does have Google Photos, so you can have all your photos there. I just don't recommend it. I just do not recommend it. Okay, let's go to the next one, email. Emails are very, it's on the line. I don't personally do much email anymore. I have really switched over to iMessage on the iPhone and stuff like that, because it's seems like it's one of those things that it's had its time, and every once in a while you'll see a resurgence and stuff like that. But as far as email goes, I would recommend either a Chromebook or an iPad. Chromebook, why it would be good for an email? Because you're already signed into your email, so it's constantly getting new emails coming in. A little bit more on emails. If you're going to get one, always have two emails. One for your family and everything that's important to you, and the other one's for junk. So when you go to a site that you want to sign up for that free 1 day pack of nutritional food, whatever you want, that way later, if you try to unsubscribe and they won't let you, or they keep sending you more emails and stuff like that, no big deal. Go to your settings, mark it as junk, and you're all set. And you don't have your really good email that you use for everything that's important to you. You don't have it cluttered up, and it will get cluttered up. Trust me, it will get cluttered. Um, and I would suggest you use Gmail, because Gmail has really good rules for filtering out stuff like that. And because if you ever go in your trash bin, you'll see where it's like thousands of emails for trash, and it's more than 99% of the time, it's always something, And if it's important, the person will either call you or text you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, email, Chromebook, or iPad. They both have excellent email services on them. Both do Gmail, and it's one of those ways that's very easy to use, and it's basic, but it still does everything that you would want to do, like forwarding, reply, and having all your contacts and stuff like that. And like I said, I would suggest you get a Gmail account if you're going to do that. Unless you're working in some kind of a business that needs security, then you might want to look into something like Pronto or something like that. Last one. I hope you're still here. Remember, when you're doing this, don't try to trick them. There are still intelligent people. They just are reluctant. Don't try to make it look like, if I can do it, you can do it, or if this person can do it. Because the one thing you do not want to happen is you do not want to belittle them or insult them, because they're not stupid. They know what they want. Sometimes you just have to show them that there's a better way, or that there's things out there that is going to greatly increase their knowledge, or you know, being able to meet new people and stuff like that. That's the thing that you want to impress upon them, that it's a gateway. You know, well, the last one is genealogy. Genealogy can pretty much change a person's life literally if they're, you know, they go through it and they see the people in their past and stuff like that. There's lots of web services out there that do genealogy, and like Ancestry.com and stuff like that, that people don't know exist, that are not in the computer world, you know. So genealogy is a really big way of telling them, say, look, you can get on there within 20 minutes of showing them how and learning and stuff like that. You know, you can go back 100 years and see who you were related to, and that'll open up a whole new world. Once they get into genealogy, that's going to open up photos, grandkids, browsing, emails, because they're going to want to mail this to their friend, their relatives, saying, you know, I've discovered this entire family that I did not know I had. And it's all there. They don't have to write anything down. They put it in a form showing you from you to your mother and father, grandfather, great grandfather, and it's all in a family tree. And it's going to be something they're going to be able to look at, and they're going to be able to print it out if they wanted to, but it's not necessary. And you can carry it on anything. You can carry it on a PC, an iPad. You can put it on your phone. And once you get them interested in that, they are going to see how much information is out there, and they're going to be curious. It's a human, you know, that's the way humans are. They're curious, and that's all you have to do is pique your curiosity. And for genealogy, definitely a PC. You could use an iPad, but you're going to want that bigger screen when it comes to genealogy, because there's going to be pages that's just going to be huge, and you may have 50 or 60 relatives, and you want to be able to stretch that out to where you're going to be able to, you know, and see all of it. And but that's the last one, genealogy. And like I said, I recommend a PC for that. If you do purchase someone a new PC, please don't get them an old one. If it's anything older than 2 years old, then you're just going to be wasting your time, because they're going to get frustrated with the updates and stuff like that. And spend the money. It's going to be worth it in the long run, and you're going to be happy that you put out the extra cash, because if you don't, like I said, you're going to be inundated with updates all the time, and more than likely they're going to be calling you and asking you questions that you're not going to understand, because you're going to be on Windows 10. They're going to be on some older operating system like Windows 7 or 8, or, you know, something like that, and it's just going to be one big headache. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's one of the things that I have that's really been close to me, because I've been frustrated and I've been there and I've done that. And I hope I've narrowed it down for you to where you're going to be able to go have the information you need and go bam, 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 this is it. And they're going to say, that makes sense, because that's what people want. They want something that makes sense and is going to be easy for them to use, to get into. Anyway, like I said, that's it. That's my 5 ways of getting someone interested in a computer and using it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe and thumbs up. Thanks.